What's up, Philip?
What's up, Flip?
Long time no see.
Yep. What's up, Sam? Or it looks like he's new.
Sammy is recording. I don't know if he's going to be able to. I know he's at work too right now. Sergio,
What's up?
what's happening, my man?
Not much. Staying busy out here.
Good, good. So we got Sergio's on, Philip's on. I heard some good news, Sergio.
Yeah, we gotta analyze it. I think together. I know I see Philip on here as well, so um, I think we just have a few questions really on how we should go about this. But
Yeah, we could do that on our 101 today. Philip and I had that earlier, and he kind of explained it. The only thing that concerns me is that price. Like all of a sudden, it was $2,000. Now they want another 1,000.
yeah, that was one of my concerns as well.
So it turned it in from like a hot lead to like not cold, but like in the middle.
Yep.
What did you see around that when he explain why it would be an extra? Because originally it was advertised as 2,000, right?
Yeah. So I mean, he didn't really say much. I mean, I think he just sees an opportunity to say, "Hey." I think one of his main things he was saying was, "I've got tenants and I've got people I can rent it to. But if you guys are gonna want to do this and you're gonna do it for your business, I'm gonna be charging 3." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So who knows? Maybe there is some room to negotiate with him. I haven't really
Yeah,
tried.
I mean, again, like what I was saying, we gotta, pick 3 or 4 and pick the best one because all that said, what did you feel about everything else? And again, we'll go more into detail when we do our 101, but just waiting for some folks to log on. What was your overall thought on that one?
I think it was a great area, to be honest. I mean, there's some iffy parts of there, and it's really close to the stadium. So I mean, that's my main thing is just the location, right? I mean, location, 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 and I mean another option he gave us was month to month, 6 months, or a year. And I think when me and Philip were leaving, we were considering saying, hey, if we were to do this, would we just do 6 months, get in, get out, or what? And another thing is he has other properties too, so um I think just the fact that he has other properties and he's like, if this one goes well, we can most likely do my others. But if he's gonna up every property $1,000 for all these other ones, like, I've got a lead in Mesa and she's not trying to overcharge. She's not even overcharging. She just wants what she's renting it for. So
Yeah, I mean, tell him we could pay 1,000 less if he wants it. Like, I don't understand why he wants 1,000 more. That didn't make any sense.
yeah, I think he sees an opportunity for himself.
He just wants a little bit of the pie, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
And maybe if that's the case, maybe Serge, since you found that, maybe you consider see if he wants to joint venture and chop that rate down a little bit. If he's gonna get in, maybe he could chop it down and then run it for him as an Airbnb and break him off or whatever. That might be, or
I don't know if I mean, it could work, but overall, I'd rather have you guys do it together or just one of you guys because he doesn't know how we think or like it's really like running a business. So like you may think one way and he may be like, oh, like he may battle you on a lot of little stuff. So I'm a little hesitant to offer that out to him, to someone we don't know.
just 3,000 is really steep. Yeah, and I think he saw like how much Airbnb is hot right now, and so I think he saw that we can make money off of it, and then he's gonna want to make some too if we are. So I can't understand that big jump.
Like I told Philip, Sergio, I would be comfortable paying like 2,100, but like I mean, it's all relative to your personal investment strategy, because I don't, there may be some months in the summer or whatever that you're not going to be as busy. So you got to understand, if you guys are joint venturing, how much are you willing to come up with on those slow months? Like,
Right.
and yeah, I just didn't really see the property worth, obviously 3,000.
Yeah, and I mean, that's good to hear it because again, I'm like I'm ready to go, but just to hear you guys, kind of pulling back makes me want to also make the right decision. I don't want to just hop on it just because and like, hey, yeah, he wants the extra 1,000, let's do it. So if it's an opportunity we can pull the trigger on, great. If he's willing to negotiate, even better. But even my wife was trying to, telling me the same thing. That's, all of a sudden he wants a piece of the pie. So,
Yeah, it's just, again, if we have 30 properties and we're moving a lot, like, yeah, we could give them a piece, but like, I'm hesitant to, like, I would take it back to him if this is one that we want to, possibly get into. And again, uh, maybe, he doesn't understand, but I know it was kind of a last minute thing. He threw the extra 1,000 when you guys got there. So we could always
Yeah.
throw it back at him. Hey man, we looked at our numbers and everything else looks great. And the most we could do right now would be 2,100 and see what he says. If, just throw it out there.
it doesn't hurt. Exactly. I mean, it's kind of like that. It's like wholesaling, let's give him a number and let's see what he comes back with. Maybe he's like, because obviously we still have to pay, um, electric and water. And even he was like, anything else breaks, you guys cover it. And so he's a tough landlord. It seems like, I mean, he's going to cover the roof and other stuff, but the washer dryer is not even that great.
Right. Right. So yeah, I mean, it's in contention, but let's, like,
Let's
I
let
know
him sweat.
I wouldn't let him sweat. Let's just, like, let's get back to him. But what else I mean, it's just us right now. Hopefully more people will jump on, but we're recording. What else do you have in the pipeline, guys?
I've
That's
got I've got a Mesa one real quick. In and it's a lady that owns the house with her brothers, and but that one's, I talked to Sam about that one, and that one might be like a travel nurse because I don't believe they do Airbnbs there either. So, I mean, I've got to look at. I'm on the road right now, but I've got to look and see what else I got.
Okay.
I'm still calling around on some properties that I want in my target area, so I'm still on the hunt. And then I have my brother's property that I still kind of want to deal with. I think he's pulling back. I don't know why, but yeah, that's all I got in the pipelines right now.
Awesome. Well, I mean, again, you're gonna get some meetings this week, Philip. Sergio's got this one in Mesa, and then I would take it back to that guy. And is there anything else besides the price that you guys didn't like on this one?
No, it was just the price. I mean, because Serge will agree that it was nicely kept inside. Nothing major is gonna need it. Wood floors. I think maybe his daughter was maybe renting it out or something, so she was taking care of it nice. So they
Yeah.
wouldn't, just a little clean up the backyard a little bit, and it has that little deck. It's a nice backyard for hosting parties and stuff. So I think it's a cute little house. But yeah, the major turnoff was just the price and how he kind of surprised us at the last minute. Because for
How was-
$2,000, I'm sorry.
How is the location?
It's on like 75th and between Camelback and Glendale, so it's only like a mile and a half from the stadium.
Yep.
It's probably like quarter mile from a popular park right off the 75th and Camelback.
So the
So-
location's killer. The location is
Yeah.
killer. So
Yeah.
let's just get back to him today, Sergio, or whoever is gonna call him and, you know, let him know you ran the numbers and love to work together. And how about we start at 2,100 and then we can revisit it next year? I wouldn't do like a month to month or 6 month. I would just go in for 1 year lease, which is pretty standard.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll get back to him.
We can say 2,100. And then I guess, you know, agree to fixing
Yeah.
anything. He's not going to
So
cover
the
anything,
only
so-
thing that doesn't make it hot is the fact that, you know, he wanted that extra 1,000. But again, let's throw it at him and you can get him the deposits, everything right away and make his life easy. I mean, it would make sense.
Okay.
I agree.
Awesome, awesome. Elena joined us. Hi, Elena.
Guys, hi.
What's happening?
No, living the dream.
Living the dream. Well, at least the dream is sunny.
Exactly. Yeah.
So glad you made it. Philip and Sergio, I don't know if you caught the earlier glimpse of what we were talking about. They're part of the one-on-one, and they were able to land a possible arbitrage near Glendale Stadium.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah, so they might joint venture. But what had happened was when they got there, the guy had advertised it, Asian fellow, he had advertised it at 2,000, and then all of a sudden they got there and they're like, he wants an extra $1,000 now.
Hmm.
So I thought that was kind of, I mean, Sergio said he's an opportunist, which, yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's kind of like highway robbery too. Okay, that's a big increase in your rent, sir.
Yeah, it's almost 100%.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
the reason? I mean, it's almost like it's irrational. So
It's
it's
totally,
beyond opportunist. This is someone who just I would never want to do business with personally.
yeah, and what I've seen over the years, I've seen people like this, and it's like getting a very low ball offer, but I would turn it back at him and, hey, we could come up to 2,100 and let me know if that works. And you know, you want to sit on it, you want to think about it, great, because we can't be like too like desperate. Like we got to be like, and obviously they want the house, but not at 3,000. So
Well, it also affects the bottom line quite significantly.
big time. Yeah, I mean, that's a big difference. But they're out there, they're close. So that's exciting, guys. So it looks like a small group. We are recording today. So for you guys who missed any of it, Sammy's recording and then he posted in school, and it should be public now, Elena, versus private.
Okay.
So you'll be able to see any of the old recordings.
Nice.
Yes, and then just so you guys know, I'm sure we're going to be growing quite a bit with students, because I haven't been marketing, so I hired a third-party marketing while I'm interviewing them, and so they're going to promote the school, which they know how to do, and so we should get more people. But it'd be great for us to some of you guys to get your own before we start exploding out there. So. Let's go over any questions from last week. I know Dr. Paul, you sat down with him, Elena, and he did provide some good insight on, nursing shortage, working with the nurses that come to Arizona. So was there any thoughts on that, Elena, from you after you met with him?
Yeah, after networking with him and then going out with my realtor and seeing what's available out there, I did a lot of market research. I'm just an analyzer personality. So I
Right.
like to gather data first before I make decisions. And I did notice that a couple of things in my price range, which was 400,
Okay.
homes in the areas close to hospitals are just not going to cut it. It's just not to my standards, because I am not looking so much at short term. I'm looking more towards midterm rental, just so it's, um, for me, less maintenance. I feel like it would be, just given what I do for a living. So with 20 or 30% of my time, I just don't see myself doing an Airbnb short term for now. Although that would be great to complement it, but during off seasons. But I just looking towards being close to hospitals for midterms is my priority. And it just seems like Mesa is filled with garbage. I wasn't interested in it. So I actually veered a little bit towards other neighborhoods with condos. So I did look at the condo townhome option, which you have to consider maintenance fees. They do differ from place to place. Some are $250 a month, some are 150, which makes a big difference. So I'm just scouting condos that I'm gonna like. And I think after talking to Paul, I'm more serious about the travel nurse than anyone else right now. So that would be my audience, I think.
Nice.
So in the past couple of days, I went on furnishfinders.com. I talked to an agent there, just starting to build connections, so that again, I have some more information under my belt.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, um, I wanted to revisit, let's see, we had some notes here from last week. Elena, let's see. Are you still shooting? What date are you shooting for? Because I had 10/31, which obviously is this month. Are we still at that, or are you adjusting your goal?
Um, so I do want to. I'm scouting some really good potential finds tomorrow. I have
Okay.
5 homes I want to see. I'll know better because these are the only homes on the market right now that I'm interested in. So tomorrow, after I see those homes, I'll make a better decision as to whether I'm feeling it.
Okay.
Um,
Sweet.
and I think that right now, the wonderful thing about this downturn in the economy is that you can lowball. So it's also very important for me to see what wiggle room I have for whatever listing I like, and then I'll make a decision. But I'm in no rush. Like there's no October 31st would be a goal, but there's nothing out there that says you must buy by October 31st. So it's a soft
Okay.
goal, not a hard one.
Gotcha. You could always adjust it. So, I know it's crazy. It's already what, 10/11, so 20 days. How about yourself, Sergio? Can you hear me? Sergio.
Yeah, sorry, I'm here.
That's all right.
I think she said that really well. I mean, obviously, like we said, like mine is the 14th, which is Friday, right?
Right.
But I'm not gonna rush it. I think I love what she said about, hey, that's just not somebody like that where they're kind of like, throwing another 1,000 at you. It makes me feel like maybe we shouldn't do business with this guy. But I'm gonna go back to him and see, what we can do as far as the number, and we'll see. We'll work with it. I've got some other options too. If it doesn't work out to be the 14th,
Okay.
I've, the goal is still to get one soon.
Yeah, and again, when we make these, it's a target. Like again,
Yeah.
ideally, we love to hit 10/14, but we want to make sure it's the best investment because you're going to be with it for at least a year in your case, Sergio.
Agreed. So with that said, I mean, I have a, even this property itself in Glendale, I don't think the tenant moves out to November 1st also. So, you know, even if we did strike a deal with him, it wouldn't be till November 1st, but hey, maybe we strike a deal this week and we hit the goal, you know, the target, and we just don't move in until, or furnish it till the 1st. The one in Mesa is also November 1st. My cousin again owns 2 properties, and I've been in his ear about it for the last several months. And he's like, I mean, we went to a funeral this weekend. He was there and he was telling everybody how that's what he's doing. So I've already implemented this strategy in his ear, and now he's like, I'm doing what Sergio's doing. So
nice. I can't wait to hear about that. Yeah, that's, I know you wanted to share that with him, so that's great.
Yep. So with that said, November 1st could be the date change. I know me and Sammy had a good conversation a couple of days ago. His is next 21st, I believe. And
Yeah.
I think I told him the same thing. Hey, you know, it's a target. If we don't actually get there, doesn't mean we failed. We just, you know, it's something that we're trying to implement the strategy. And if we can get to that specific date and hit it, let's go. If not, it has to make sense.
It's going to, and you, like everyone said, you and Elena said, you're moving in that direction. So like, as long as we're taking these steps, like we're doing every day, Sergio. And again, that's why I'm saying this one may be the best one, but we got to make sure on price, because sometimes your first deal is the best one in reality, but you just got to figure out how to work the numbers. And then we're going to keep looking today, tomorrow, the next day. We're not going to just stop right now because we know he may not accept 2,100. So let's just keep a bunch of different options open, like Mesa. And I know you got some other leads working, so I think that's great.
I agree.
Yeah, the way I at least see it is it's all a numbers game. And you have to have the minimum you want to make on a monthly basis, you know, direct you in that, wherever in that pathway. So I like to see the end goal first, right? What do I want to make a month, and then work from there. But I feel like it's also very different in your case, Sergio, because you're not necessarily in charge, because you will have a landlord. You're not purchasing the property. So it's also, for me, that would give me anxiety. Personally, I'm not an arbitrage person. I've never been, because I always like to be in charge, in control of my own fate. I see that as handing over my business to be in someone else's hands. Like to me, it's just scary, because I do deal with a landlord right now. And tomorrow, for all I know, he can raise my rent by $7,000 just because of market standards once my lease is up. So personally, dealing with a landlord for me has been good, at the same time as bad. Good because it allowed me to enter the market, because I wasn't able to purchase a property. So here I am, I own a business that's making a lot of money, but again, I'm at the mercy of my landlord for many years. So from my experience, I like to deal with people who are even keeled, who are level-headed, people who I know I will want to do business with. Because if you get involved with someone who's already off the bat trying to do this, that would give me anxiety. I wouldn't want to deal with this person. So maybe you need to look for a landlord where you know the relationship will be wholesome.
Agree.
Now,
yeah.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, Elena, but in the same aspect, think about it. When you first started your business, if you didn't have the real estate to start the business, you wouldn't be making the money you're making now. So,
and that's why I said I completely agree. I love and hate landlords at the same time, because I would not have been
100%.
able to purchase a property. I have my business because of my landlord, but I also thought twice before dealing with that particular landlord. I had to think about the building and the relationship before I went ahead and did that.
yeah.
And even today, 10 years later, I'm still at, he's got me by the balls, pardon my French. Because tomorrow he can completely ruin my profit margin if he wants to, once my lease is renewed. So to me, that's always.
Let's throw it back, not throw it back, but let's just open the discussion up to the group. Philip, what do you think on that comment as far as the difference between arbitrage and equity?
I can understand it. Equity is the approach that I eventually want to get into.
Uh-huh.
But right now, arbitrage is going to be my entry.
Yeah.
But I can understand both sides. Like this guy in particular, I was thinking, I know he's being outrageous with asking for an extra 1,000 more, but if we can somehow negotiate with him, and maybe he comes down, because I know he owns multiple properties. If we can
Right.
show them that this works, if he's willing to negotiate, we show him that this works, then I mean that's just going to open up a lot of things even
For
more
sure,
for
for
us.
sure. And I don't think Elena was saying just throw them out. Like,
Yeah,
at least you got something that's tangible. You got you got a lot of good stuff there. So, when I say that's just my negotiation, but like you guys, what are you comfortable in the end of coming up with every month? How much have you and Sergio, if you joint venture, what's your high point that you'd be willing to pay for this property?
like what the expenses wise, I mean,
I'm just
1,000.
saying to him every month, what would you be willing to give him? So he's asking 3, it was at 2,
Oh yeah,
you know.
I 2 is great. I don't want to go past 25. I think that's my even
I
high.
think that's gonna be the number you guys settle at, to be honest. That's why I said go to 21. He's probably, if he's rational at any means and really wants to
Yeah.
do this, I think you guys will probably come together at 25. Does that work for you, Sergio?
I was exactly thinking that number right there. So that's where I'd be comfortable.
Okay, yeah,
And
Yeah,
obviously throwing it back to him at 21, I knew everybody negotiates. So you
yeah.
gotta, shoot him low and then see where he meets us at. And if he's like, nope, 27, then we'll just negotiate and we'll go from there. So
Yeah,
I agree.
And at the end of the day, if he says 27, you'll be like, oh, let me think about it, or and then give it a day to simmer, and then maybe he'll say 25, and you guys.
Do you guys
get
have
what
a
you want.
number on what you're able to maximize the property at for short term?
we do need to run the numbers on the air DNA to kind of see, what we could get out of it. So yeah, that's going to be a huge deal on closing this or not, because right
Well,
now we're just going
yeah.
based upon location, and the nice, the setup of the house. But yeah, before we do anything,
Definitely pull the numbers like we talked about this morning, Philip and Sergio, and then we could see what the expenses would be. We know we have to factor in, you guys are paying for internet. We just do streaming TVs, so you don't need to pay for cable or anything. Then you guys got to pay for electric. I don't know if it gets gas, and then you got your water and trash, but those are kind of, and then, you need your insurance every month. So those are really your costs that you're going to incur.
Is the landlord paying utilities in the arbitrage case?
It's typically the leasee that pays for the utilities.
That's another big thing, right? Because
Sense.
SRP has
Yeah.
shot up by 30% this past year alone. Yeah, so I think like the way I did my math is I started with the midterm rental and short-term rental combination of occupancy, and what is that number that I can possibly expect. So I do competitive analysis on that particular area with the same, comparables, bedroom, bath. And it was actually so interesting to see. It's still not a science, right? It's not like MLS. It's almost like a black hole when you're looking to do comparables in our market, because some apartment is grandma's house and it's just dilapidated and it's the ugliest space you've ever seen, and they'll charge $95 a night, and then you'll have the same square footage with a gorgeous interior, right? Super modern, and they charge double. And another really interesting thing to see is to go into their calendars and see if they're booked. And some places are not booked at all, and some places are fully booked, and some of them are really ugly. And you're like, who the hell just got this? You know,
Yeah,
who in
so
their right mind just did that?
pricing, once you guys get into it, pricing strategy, I would agree. I mean, it's not a exact science. You really need, you could play around with it. You could like, are we looking to get maximum bookings? Are we looking to get maximum revenue? So there's a lot of different factors that philosophy wise we could talk about. Because again, some people would rather just have it booked every 30 days, even though if it's $90 versus like half the bookings making a little more money. So it's just one of those things. Like, how do you want to price your properties?
Also, Flip, do you recommend, as starting out, offering the like incentives just for first, second, third renter, just so you can get out there, get some good reviews?
Airbnb does that, where you could click on it and you could offer the first 3 guests a 20% discount. So, you know, with any new listing, 20%, and then you get your reviews sky high, and that really helps. So I definitely use that whenever we launch a new property, we offer that 20% discount.
Are you able to offer them like $50 DoorDash credit for a review kind of thing, so you know that the person leaving will leave one for you?
I mean, if you're doing everything exceptional, you're communicating, you're making sure up front they know reviews are important. I don't think you need to pay for the reviews because your service is already amazing and you've already told them, you know, really appreciate the great review, vice versa. So I don't really offer those incentives. I just over deliver, I think, in what they expect. And like when there's a problem, we get back to them, we figure out the solution right away. We try to put ourselves in their shoes. And, you know, for me, getting a $50 gift certificate would be nice, but that's all those other things you did. I really would grade you on those versus like trying to buy I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think you need to do that if you're doing exceptional service.
Okay, because in my business, reviews are extremely hard to get. People just don't want to leave you a review. You have to sort of squeeze blood to get it.
Yeah, and I think it's different in travel because like we know as a host that reviews are important, and the guests, if they're on there for any time, they know reviews are important for them too when they're traveling, because we do vet that way. But you know, if there was a situation where, you know, you had a couple problems at the property, I definitely have given them $50, $100 to restaurant, whatever, to help make up for, you know, the trouble that we had. Maybe the AC went out, things that were out of our control.
Okay.
Sergio, what are you thinking over there? I see your wheels spinning.
I'm listening, and I've got a lot on my mind. So as we're talking, I'm parked right here. I'm in North Phoenix or somewhere, and I was literally just sending someone else. I'm trying to get this other deal done for a seller finance. So trying to get a little bit more cash in the savings account that I can move over to one of these arbitrage deals. So, and a lot of what Elena said was equity is something that I'm looking forward to getting as well. I want to be able to buy instead of doing the arbitrage deal eventually. So
yeah. And, you know, I could appreciate that too, because, you know, a lot of people, Sergio, especially yourself being in the wholesale space, a lot of investors that want to get into real estate, they don't start with fix and flip. They start with wholesale. Why is that? Because they don't have the capital to, you know, get equity to buy it right now. So once they wholesale, as you guys know, or as Sergio knows, they will eventually the next step is fix and flip versus that. So similar to Airbnb, we have a mixture of people where like it may make more sense in the beginning to go arbitrage. For myself, I went equity because I already own property and I just converted them. And then same with wholesale. I fixed and flipped first versus wholesale. So kind of did the things a little traditionally different than others, but it just depends where you're at. And again, I think to have a mixture of those, and because now what I see, guys, is with especially where the market's at, I could go and write offers and lowball, but I'm not doing that because I know I could do arbitrage and scale the business. And then I could also do creative finance where I don't have to be owning the property right now until we see what's going on next year or the year after. So I think more deals are coming. So that's why I say I'm not a big equity position guy now, but I've already have equity, Elena. So, you know, if you're doing your first one, I think it makes sense. But where I'm at as far as scaling, that's where the arbitrage creative finance really comes into play.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about your business plan. You know,
Yeah.
where do you see yourself? What do you want to do? If you're into this full time and you're looking to get into the business hardcore, definitely arbitrage, right? Because you can scale it. But for someone who's looking to do this as a side hustle and has a little bit of cash saved and just wants to, you know, coast, you know, for the first couple of years and get to know the business that way, sort of like a street MBA in real estate, I would highly recommend the equity portion. So it you know, different strokes for different folks.
Certainly.
Absolutely. And you're, you know, the midterms are lucrative too also. So just, again, like you said, different strokes for different folks. There's so many different angles and ways we could, you know, themes versus, you know, who we attract and all that good stuff. So the key is to personalize it for what works for you. And I think, you know, with Sergio, we got that keyed in, Philip, Sammy, and then Elena, I feel like all of us have kind of know where we're headed. So that's the most important thing. So especially with the course, because we're going to get people that don't have direction and we're just wanting to educate them and then put them in the right spots based on, you know, what they have right now saved versus, you know, the future.
Yeah, and I like that 2 months ago, my head was in a completely different space. And through the Zooms and educating ourselves and getting to know the market, every day we learn more. And now I'm in a completely different route than what I thought I would be 2 months ago. So
yeah,
cool. You learn about yourself.
You learn about yourself, you educate yourself, but also the network is invaluable too, because now we have people that are doing deals within PIA, which is super cool. And yeah, I'm glad people are getting their first Airbnbs and seeing the fruits of the labor since we started. So that's going to be for all you guys.
Yeah, I think networking with like-minded people is priceless. It really, really is. Because where else are we going to find each other? You know,
100%.
This is kind of like a dating show. You know, it's like a dating app where it's like we're swiping left or right.
Who's better?
And yeah, 100%. The crazy dating shows. So let's see, what other questions do we have on the rest of the call?
When you do your maybe Philip talked about this, so we could talk about it later. The leasing contract, right? Is there anything specific that you that you have or use for a sublease, or do you specifically just get the leasing agreement and see if it says we're allowed to sublease in there?
100%. So that's a great question. So, you know, I just experienced that recently with our arbitrage in Glendale, my first one, but typically, well, you're in a little different situation there. So what happened with us, Sergio, is we went to this large property management company. So they already have their lease written out. But with this guy being a small time, operator, he is not going to have that. So there are some key things we got to make sure. Obviously, number one is the ability to sublease the property, and fully disclosing that is key. And just always protecting yourself. So there's language that we could write in the contract before you do sign this. And you could have him send you a copy of what he has before, and just to review it, we could go over it. Because it is different versus a small guy versus a big corporate leasing company. There was something else I was going to mention on that. Oh, and then as far as the lease between you and anyone else, that all goes through Airbnb, VRBO. So it's only one lease that you sign with him as the owner.
Perfect.
Hey, Flip, do you have how did you find your lawyer or whoever it is that drafts your leases? Did you do it on your own, LegalZoom? What do you recommend?
LegalZoom is great, but I mean, again, every real estate investor really needs to have a lawyer, a real estate attorney on their team. I have a couple that I turn to when I need stuff because things are always changing. Today I have a eviction at one of my properties up east of Mesa because it's not, it's a small town and there's not a lot of activity, so I can't do Airbnb. But that one, I'm actually in the back. I'm going to convert it to Airbnb, but just not the house right now. But anyway, I have an eviction. The guy hasn't paid me for a while on this long-term property, and all I do is print the lease out. But you have to have a attorney who specializes in evictions. So it's important that you have a couple different attorneys that you could go to. LegalZoom's good. It's reasonable, but I would still advise having, some folks here in the community that you could meet up with locally, the local laws and state laws.
So the person you're evicting, is that a long-term renter?
Yeah. So I have some long-term investments that for whatever reason, they don't make good short-term. So that one is a long-term, and he just quit paying, and there's always another excuse of, I could pay you $250 by Friday. And so I'm like, no, you can either leave or you'll be forced to leave. Like, what do you want to do? And I never heard back, but that's for a long-term rental.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's not that hard in the state of Arizona. Like over the years, I've used the same Andy Hall and Denise. They write for used to be Arizona Republic. I think it's still newspapers out there, but they do a lot of publication on landlord tenant, and it's a pretty easy process. They you got a lease, they don't pay, you put a 5-day. If they don't pay, then they have a court date. If they don't pay, then they have a judgment. So, but they are forcibly detained out of the property once we get that award. And Arizona's pretty landlord friendly. So definitely LegalZoom, or get local, or both. Let's see. And the other thing, I know some of you guys are working with one realtor, maybe two, but I would open it up to, other realtors also, because one realtor may understand your needs a certain way, and then another realtor be like, oh, or maybe they just see something that the other realtor never saw.
Yeah, that's a good point. Every realtor is different.
Yes. So I know October is coming and going. We're going to do that meetup with Chicago Title, but she had some family illness, and so meetups on hold there. But hopefully some of you guys are getting out to some meetups. And then I was going to do one with Max and Ryan, and they had to reschedule Sergio at that pop-up, but it's definitely a good time. I don't know, the past couple haven't worked, but if good time to be out and about at some meetups. So hopefully you guys are getting out and you got your elevator speech and meeting some new folks.
Yeah, I just picked up 2 nurses from Sky Harbor this morning and dropped them off in Gilbert, and I kind of talked their ear off about traveling nurses, but they completely agree how it's a great venture to be in and a good opportunity right now.
Is that what they do? Are they traveling from another state, or
They were traveling, but they were not traveling nurses. I guess they were, but they actually have an apartment out here in Gilbert, and then they have an apartment in Texas. So instead of renting or anything, they just bought some small apartments.
okay, interesting. But now we're talking, the universe has a way to all of a sudden bring
seriously
in your backseat two traveling nurses. That's crazy.
I know, that's what I thought this morning. I was like, you know what? I love being out here because like I said, my wife recently quit her job and I was like, I'd rather work all day than be at home, because with the kids and trying to do a business, it's a lot. And as we know, so now that I'm out here, I talk to so many people, and I can talk, and I will talk their ear off, but
Nice. That's awesome.
You'd rather drive a car around town than be with your kids, huh?
Not at all. So that's
I mean,
but for now,
a man needs his break. Let's face it, Elena.
Mom too.
I love
I've
my
had
kids.
plenty of times where I sat in my car and I was just like serenity.
Oh, for sure. And you and I only have 2. Like I was very involved in. My kids are teenage now, so they don't need me. But like when they're 4, 6, oh my god, can you give me this?
Yes,
there's
that's
a
the age.
lot of needs.
9, 7, 5, and 3 years old. So it's a really, really tough age.
And I noticed his hair started to get gray and stuff, Elena.
Sergio, I suggest you take a drive till they turn
There you
18.
go.
Just drive somewhere really far.
But yeah, that's awesome that your wife was on board, and she was miserable at her job at doing whatever she did, and now being with the kids, I'm sure is much better for her too.
For a while, I had to kind of like let my pride go, because I was just trying to let real estate work, and I had so many deals fall apart. But now, if you drive Uber, or you ever take an Uber, you can make a good chunk of change in a day, like $200, $300, $400. So,
Wow.
it's worth it for me.
Yeah, and I mean, the people you meet, and that's I had mentioned this to Sergio on our one-on-one. There's this organization similar to Uber, but it's called, it's Vail, right, Sergio?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so that would be my dream job. Like, I think I'll probably make it a goal next year to, as long as I have so many properties, like I'm gonna go drive like 10 hours a week with Vail if they allow it, or 15, because it's like a counseling session. So you help people in the mental health field, but it's like you meet some super interesting folks. And I used that service like 4 years ago, where they drove me places, and it's a great service that the Vail provides. So
100%.
yeah, it's similar to Uber, but there's a lot of cars out there. I'm not a big driver, so I would have to do it at the morning or something. But yeah, I could see being out there is nice.
Question
Yes.
before we go, because it's almost 11.
Okay.
I've noticed that there are a lot of open door listings on the market.
Right.
Do you have any feedback on that? They own a huge chunk of the market, and their pricing strategy is insane. It's almost like, why are they even in business? They're probably going to go bankrupt any day now. They bought homes for $450, and now they're selling for $380, just sitting on the market stale.
Yeah.
Right. Right, that's a great question. I'm gonna research that and talk to a few people about these open door listings because there is a ton of them.
Using the left lane, make a left turn on East Indian
And
School
they're
Road.
really shitty listings. I mean,
They
they're
do crap.
foreclosures.
They do horrible work. I mean,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna research that for next week and see what's going on unless someone has some feedback.
Yeah.
I
I'd
couldn't
love to
tell
talk
you.
about it next week.
Okay, I'll check into it. So let's see, a lot of birthdays this week, huh? October 13th, I think Elena has one.
Yeah, my daughter's turning 11.
Nice, nice. My sister's October 14th. My dad's like the 20th. I got another friend on the 12th. So yeah, there's a lot of October birthdays. Well, any other questions before we wrap up?
No, I don't have anything right now. I think I'm gonna do some follow-ups. I've got my wife calling right now at home for some other canceled and expired listings. So just have a good week, everybody, and
Yep,
keep the momentum.
for sure.
Amen.
For sure.
All right, guys. Have a nice week.
Likewise.
Sergio, see you too. See you, Elena. Philip,
Yep.
see you. Sammy, thank
Peace
you.
out.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.